Welcome to the Caregiver Cup podcast. As we dive into November, I want to pause and celebrate you, the caregiver. This month is National Family Caregiver Month here in the United States, a time to recognize the compassion, strength, and resilience you show every single day. You are the heartbeat of caregiving and the steady rock for your loved one. And remember, celebrating you doesn't mean just cheering you on from the sidelines. It's about making sure you feel supported, valued, and empowered. Each week this month, I'm going to bring you topics, tools, and encouragement designed to uplift you, help you set healthy boundaries, and reclaim moments of joy and peace in your caregiving journey. Because yes, you're doing this out of love, but you're also allowed to focus on your well-being. So as you listened today, let's start with a small act of self-recognition. I want you to take a deep breath. Place your hand on your heart and just acknowledge the incredible work you're doing. The strength it takes to show up even on the toughest days deserves to be honored every day, not just in November. This month, I invite you to celebrate yourself as we celebrate all caregivers. Let's make National Caregiver Month a time to not only recognize your role, but to embrace the support you deserve, the communities that surround you, and the resilience you continue to build. You're not just a caregiver, you are an inspiration, a guiding light, and remember the power of love. Let's dive into this today's episode and keep shining together. Well, hello, my friend, and welcome to another episode of the Caregiver Cup podcast. It's Kathy here. And today I'm bringing you a heartfelt and an inspiring conversation with Danielle Gray. She's a young caregiver from Ontario, Canada, who has been caring for her mom for well over 5 years. Danielle's journey is a testament to resilience, adaptability, and finding ways to care for others while prioritizing her own well-being. Alongside of caregiving, she's also a certified Reiki healer, a certification she earned while caregiving. Her story is full of relatable struggles, profound insights, and really practical tips for caregivers like you and I who are navigating the ups and the downs of this journey. This episode felt like sitting across from a friend at a coffee shop. We just had some really deep conversations into the real challenges of caregiving, the ones many of us don't talk about either. About 12 minutes in, Danielle shares a powerful aha moment about the importance of advocating for our own health. We're always advocating for our loved ones, but when do we stop and advocate for our own health? Caregiving can be all-consuming, but assessing your stress and protecting your health and taking proactive steps towards your well-being is something we all need to hear, we all need to do. Danielle also opens up about coming up in the 1-year anniversary of her brother's passing. Right in the midst of her caregiving, she had this happen. It's a stark reminder of how caregiving often intertwines with other life challenges, and they usually come unexpected. Her transparency and wisdom and inspiring advice throughout our conversation left me deeply moved. I want to first of all thank Danielle for sharing her story and her being so honest and genuine and giving us practical tips. Danielle, you've shown that even in the midst of caregiving and loss, there's still room for healing, growth, and connection. So, my friend, let's dive into my conversation with Danielle Gray. Maybe you grab your favorite beverage, which you also know mine is always coffee, but whatever your favorite beverage is, and settle in and get ready for a truly meaningful episode. Well, welcome to the Caregiver Cup podcast, Danielle. We are so glad that you found me and found the podcast. And before we get started, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your caregiving journey so that we can kind of start breaking all of that down?
Okay. I started my caregiving journey when my mom ended up with really bad migraines and her mental health was affecting it. And my career just kind of took a different route. And I ended up just staying home and taking care of her.
Okay.
And then she ended up, like years later after this, ended up getting diagnosed with stage 3 ovarian cancer, and
Mm,
it was aggressive stage 3. So then my whole life was like, okay, this is a completely different route because the caregiving changes. And then I started taking care of her, and then I started to look into different like holistic ways of helping her because
mm.
she had amazing doctors already. So I was like, how can I help holistically? And
Nice,
that's how
nice.
I just found my new journey.
Are you living with your mom then?
Yes.
So you're right there 24/7
Yeah.
all the time with your mom?
Yeah.
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 Wow.
I've never moved out. I've been taking care of her, I guess, for a really long time.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you said you had to put your career on hold. Tell us about
Yeah.
what you do and what you had to put on hold and how you're kind of, maneuvering that.
Yeah. Well, I had a short little career in daycare, and I
Okay.
thought that I was going to be a daycare teacher. And
Okay.
then I went into chef school and I did that.
Yeah.
And yeah, and then I started working, but the jobs were really stressful and it wasn't working out. I just wasn't built for that life.
Yeah.
And then then I started actually a catering business. My mom and I
Okay.
did that. And then um, just her health started to deteriorate with like the pain. It was just a lot. And I just started to go, you know what? All of these things aren't working out. Maybe I should
Mm,
just focus on taking care of her.
yeah.
And it was so easy in the beginning because like it was just very simple caregiving skills, like maybe get her lunch every once in a while.
Okay.
But then when the diagnosed cancer came along, and I'm 37 now, so it's been a journey. And she's had the cancer for about 2 years now, almost. And yeah, I just went deep dived into like the caregiving because it was just she had to get chemo and she needed somebody with her, and
Yeah.
I would check on her sleeping because the cancer is very aggressive, and
Yeah.
it just turned into a whole new, like it went from caregiving to, okay, this is full time.
Yeah, and think about yourself. And I know you think about, yeah, you feel that when I interview somebody, I ask them to fill out a questionnaire. And
Yeah.
one of the questions I ask you was, what was your biggest challenge going into
Oh,
now
yeah.
the cancer caregiving? What
Oh,
are your
yeah.
biggest challenges?
I guess just the stress of it all. I went from just, everything's going to be okay. She has mental health issues. I have a little bit too, and it's like I can relate to that. And the
Yeah.
chronic pain was okay, but cancer is like a whole other story. It's so stressful because you just
Mhm.
don't know day to day. It's just kind of like,
Yeah.
what's going to happen today? What new thing's going to pop up today?
Well, and you said the word aggressive, and
Yeah.
that's what Dennis is re-diagnosed with
Oh,
aggressive Hodgkin's and
oh,
non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. So
oh
he
my
went into
gosh.
remission, had a stem cell transplant, went into remission, but now aggressive
Yeah.
means that, things have to be accelerated and
Yeah.
sped up. And, think about you and what's going through your mind as you're caregiving for her. You're
Oh
trying
yeah.
to, yeah.
I was so grateful. I had my brother at the time who was helping me take care of her.
Okay.
He passed away actually
Oh,
December 20th, 2023 at 30.
oh my gosh. So you're caregiving on top of all of that
Yeah.
stress. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
And
Sorry
then,
about that,
yeah,
Danielle.
thank you. He had cysts on his brain and we didn't know, but he passed away from that. So he's helping me caregive for her. And then all
Yeah.
of a sudden, he's starting to deteriorate. So I'm taking care of both of them.
Dual.
And
Oh,
then he just passes away. And my mom and I are devastated. And it's just
yeah.
kind of like, but we have to keep fighting and keep going. And
Yeah.
it's just been a lot of stress.
Yeah. What do you do right now to try to, combat that or reduce that? Because stress is always going to be there.
Yeah.
It's part of the journey that we're on.
Yeah. Luckily I have two cats that were my brothers, so they're great for stress. The cuddles and all that stuff are
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
very, and they wake me up early in the morning so I can read a book or
Okay.
have that time of quietness just to focus on myself, meditate. I like to do that a lot,
Good.
just
Good.
to gather myself. Like to do
Yeah.
the dishes early in the morning just because it's like relaxing.
Yeah.
I love to just like have a little bit of time before
Yeah.
everything starts to get
To go
crazy.
crazy, to go crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think on here you had put too that, showers and baths to
Oh
just
yeah, I
try to,
love that. Yeah.
yeah.
I love doing that in the evening. I love doing that early in the morning, just having a
Yeah.
shower or bath just to like get my muscles to relax a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there there's things that you do. Let's talk about I want to jump to the first one though, because the
Mhm.
first question you had said is or I don't know, remember where it was. You're in
Yeah.
Canada.
Yeah.
And most of the listeners right now on the Caregiver Cup podcast are in America. Most,
Yeah.
not all,
Yeah.
but probably 80% of them are. Tell
Okay.
us about is there what does caregiving look like in from a Canada perspective? Is there a
Um,
difference that you know of or
I think so. I mean, we don't get paid to do a caregiving in
okay,
Canada. Unless you've been working at a job for maybe, let's say, 20, 30 years outside of the
okay.
home, it's
Yeah.
easier to get paid. If you're self-employed, it's harder.
Yeah.
Um, if you're just caregiving in general, it's hard to get paid. There's not a lot of support. I find there are groups that you can go to and
Yeah.
kind of have that support, but there's not a lot of financial support in
Okay.
Canada.
Okay.
Yeah, I find that really frustrating because there's so many people out there with like that need help, that are
Yeah.
taking care of their family members regardless of how old they are. It's
Yeah.
you can't do both
Yeah, for
sometimes.
here it's a state by state, or like maybe for years it's a province per providence, but it depends on the state you're in from a
Yeah.
paid caregiving perspective here.
Yeah,
But
some Providence I think do
okay,
it, but in Ontario, I know for sure that they just are not very helpful with caregivers.
yeah. How's the
Yeah.
healthcare system with your mom working for you? Is it working?
Um,
I mean, you have
yeah, I
different.
mean,
Yeah.
we are so grateful for the team that is
Oh,
with
good,
her. We
good.
lucked out with the team that we have. I mean, the healthcare could be better. It could
Yeah.
always be better.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm like not impressed by full on care, like the whole health system, but
Hmm.
I'm grateful for her doctor so
Yeah.
much.
I would say that from my end perspective too. I mean, I think that there's always room for improvement, but
Yeah.
let's talk about that now. Is how do you advocate with the medical team? Is there
Hmm.
any things that you do or any practices that you do to go ahead and stay on top of it? Because I know
Oh
it's
yeah.
probably meds and
Yeah.
pain management and all that kind of
Oh
stuff.
yeah.
What do you do?
Oh gosh, I love to be in her appointment visits with her because
Hmm.
I can speak from just experiencing things beside her. And if she forgets something,
Yeah.
I'm gonna let the doctor know and I'm gonna reaffirm that she needs something. And
Good.
I'm not gonna let it go. And
Yeah.
she's not gonna let it go. But like it helps because
Yeah.
we kind of do that for each other. We're kind
Good.
of a team. So yeah, when I see something's wrong, I'm like, nope, this needs to be taken down
Yeah.
and take it seriously.
Good. Good.
Yeah.
Do you
And
have
we have
like
doctors that listen.
do you track it in a book or something that you bring with you, or do you have a do you how
Yeah,
do you
she actually has been able to keep a notebook. Her
oh
memory's been fuzzy, but she has a notebook. She's able to keep track of her medication, which is really good still, even though the
nice.
foggy brain is like still not helpful, but she's able
Right.
to track things down. I remind her sometimes if she forgets.
Yeah.
But she's pretty good on like keeping up with her medication and
Good.
writing stuff down on her own. I'm really proud of her for that.
Yeah, I just started that back again with Dennis, my spouse, is like,
Yeah.
I just started it. I bought this green butterfly notebook because I wanted
Oh,
something fun or different, but I
yeah.
just started recording everything because it's funny over just 1 week's time and less than you have
Yeah.
a week in between visit. You can't remember if it was Monday or Tuesday or Thursday
Yeah,
or
exactly.
it all
Yeah.
blends together.
yeah, you lose like every week seems like the same, but different things are going on.
It
Just
does.
always seems like it's blending into each other.
Yeah, and being able to
Yeah.
write it down and saying what time and all that kind of stuff helps
Yeah.
because yeah, with that as well. What
Oh
else
yeah.
did I see here too? You said notebook for logging medications. Tell me about your
Yeah.
digital calendar for appointments. Do you use a digital
Oh
calendar?
yeah. Yeah,
I
we
am
use
not
Google calendars. Yeah.
I'm like one of these people that try it and then go back and try it and go
Yeah.
back. So tell me about your tips there.
We usually write it down and then we also put it in the calendar just in case we don't look at the phone that day or
Okay.
something happens, just as a reminder, just so they pop up too. We just kind
Okay.
of have them for the time set and all that stuff, and we have them set for like 10 minutes before and
Okay.
usually the day before, so we know what's going on.
Okay. Good.
So we're
Good.
keeping track of everything and we also write it down just so it's like
I
not
know it. I
crazy,
know it. It's
jumbled.
crazy because
Yeah.
you have to manage all these appointments and that kind of thing. It just becomes very overwhelming if you just
Oh
don't
yeah, it's so overwhelming because you have your own doctor's appointments and then you have like their doctor's appointments and you're just trying to keep everything on track.
on track as well. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So let's talk about how you're taking care of yourself or
Okay.
um first of all, let me ask you this. What is one of the biggest things that you have learned now as a caregiver
Yeah.
when it comes to your own care? You know, what have you learned and then what be a typical day or life in the world of Danielle when it comes to
Okay.
self-care?
Um, oh gosh, I've learned that just because my body's taken so much stress, I have to advocate for my own health too.
Hmm.
I recently had a doctor's appointment and we're getting blood work done for me because I'm so exhausted all the time lately. And my
Hmm.
body is just so anxiety stressed
Yeah.
that we think it might be stress. So I just want to get blood work
Yeah.
done to see if anything's
Right.
going on with me.
Right.
Because my mom was worried too. She's like, I have cancer, so we have to get blood work done for you. And she
Hmm.
kept pushing me because I was like, we just don't have any time right now. But like, I'm glad that she reminded me because I have to advocate for my own health. I can't take care of anybody else unless I take care of myself.
Yeah, because I mean, our, I don't know a lot about the whole medical thing, but burnout and the adrenal gland fatigue and all
Oh,
of
yeah.
that kind of stuff is
Yeah.
just, it's probably just beating you up inside, you
Yeah,
know?
that's what I think the exhaustion is. It's a lot of
Yeah.
like maybe high cholesterol or cortisol or something
Cortisol.
inside of
Yep.
me.
Yep.
Yeah, cortisol that's going on inside of my body. I think that the stress and anxiety of everything is just really making me tired lately.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and you know, I always say to everybody, listen to your body. But then
Yeah.
on the flip side, I was in this like middle of the road feeling really good. Dennis was in remission, and then all of a sudden this hit.
Oh
And it
gosh.
reminds me of how fast your body can, and then for a lack of a term, whack
Yeah.
out. It can
Oh
whack
yeah.
out because of all of the stress.
Oh yeah. I
Yeah.
feel like that's what's happening to my body, especially since my brother's anniversary of his death is coming up. I think my body's just like, okay, you're hitting a wall now. You need
Yeah.
to do something about it just because like there's too much stuff going on for me to just,
I look at you and seeing stress,
yeah.
probably still grieving his loss.
Oh yeah, big time. The year hasn't even come up yet, so it's
Yeah.
still, yeah. I still
Yeah.
find myself crying at times because it's just, it's so,
How old was
you're
he?
like 30.
Oh
Yeah,
my
he was my
gosh.
youngest brother too.
Oh
Yeah,
my
I have
gosh.
another brother, but he was the youngest. Yeah,
Oh, well, and
it's
then
so
you're,
devastating.
yeah. And how's your mom's cancer? Is it, she's still
Oh
fighting
my
the
gosh,
fight?
it's yeah. Oh my gosh, it's so amazing though. Like her cancer levels are so low.
Good.
And she's on a chemo pill, so like her cancer levels are really low.
Good.
I mean, the chemo is attacking her bones like crazy,
Oh, so she's in
but
pain that way. Yeah.
yeah, and her teeth and stuff, and it's just
Hmm.
it's awful, but she's like, at least I'm alive. We'll figure out the other stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
But that's
I'm
all,
so
you
grateful.
know, I think of you with like all of these cloud bubbles over your head. You know, you
Oh
have the
yeah.
stress and the worry and the all the
Yeah.
management and your health
Yeah.
and your brother's grief. And
Yeah.
I'm glad you went to the doctor because
Yeah.
that's a
I
huge,
find myself either crying or having panic attacks for some reason lately. It's just been like,
Yeah,
That's just been my life.
if I had to, this is Kathy, no medical background, no psychological background, but I think you're like
Yeah.
probably on the verge of burnout going into compassion fatigue. You're like
Yeah.
really, because there's three
Oh, yeah.
levels. There's the stress, there's
Okay.
the burnout, and then there's compassion fatigue. And when it
Yeah.
comes to compassion fatigue, that's where your body is really, really reacting and could shut down. So you really have to get
Okay.
on top of it. So,
Yeah. I'm grateful
yeah.
that I'm going to get the blood work done soon. It's
Yeah.
just, I'm so
Yeah.
tired and
And if it comes back good, then at least you
yeah.
know that, okay, it is stress and burnout. Now I
Yeah.
have to work on recharging or
Yeah.
healing it back up, which gets me into the next thing. You
Yeah.
are a healer, right? I'm probably
Yeah.
not
Oh, yeah.
saying it right. Tell us what
Oh,
you
no, you're
do.
saying it right.
Yeah. What do you
I
do?
do Reiki and I'm also studying actually light language too. It's another
Okay.
form of healing. It's kind of like Reiki. It deals with energy in your bodies.
Okay.
And you kind of use your hands, and the energy from your hands kind of heals either the pain or emotional pain, trauma,
Okay.
in a spiritual way.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I find it helps my mom with her pain in her bones, and she had knee surgery, so
Okay.
I help heal her with that, and she says that it takes away a lot of the pain. She doesn't have to use as many painkillers.
That's funny because I had Dr. JJ Kelly on in like about 2 months ago, and I was telling her all of my history, and she had said, you need to find a local is it Reiki?
Oh
Reiki?
yeah, yeah, yeah. You're
Uh,
saying it right.
yeah, healer in my
Yeah,
area.
yeah,
And she goes, you're going to either cry after
yeah.
you're done to let it all out, or
Oh yeah, it's
something's going to
very
happen to your
emotional.
body.
Yeah, I can even do it to myself too, which I need to do, but it drains me so much because of the energy that you're passing on to somebody to help them.
So
It's like I'm still in the early processes of like learning how to control.
I saw your YouTube video about what it was. And so
Yeah,
you physically, do you physically just put your hands over the body? Is that what
yeah,
you do?
yeah. And I feel like this energy coming out of my hands, and I could feel kind of absorbing the energy that's in the person, and you kind of just toss it away to
Okay.
make sure that you don't attach yourself to anything. And then you wash your hands with cold water just to like completely
Okay. Do they lay down flat? Is that what they
yeah, they
do?
can lay down flat. You can be in a chair.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just really be in a comfortable state of mind, and just kind of let the healer do their thing. And
Okay.
then you kind of feel like a release.
Do you say anything to them or do they just lay there?
They just lay there. I kind of say things in my head like, the Reiki masters of past, present, and future, please help me heal this
Okay.
person. And then I say their name, and then I say, please take away the pain from this person. And I'm doing it in my head so nobody can hear me, but
Good.
and then I lay my hands on top of them and kind of move them around depending on where I feel it
Okay.
needs to be taken
Okay.
from them.
And
Yeah, it's a really
when your mom is there, what does she do? Does she say anything or does she pray or what does she do?
She just kind of lays there and she goes, I can feel it kind of leaving my body. And I'm like, okay, that's good.
Amazing.
Just let me know how you're feeling. And she's like, the energy is kind of leaving, and I can feel the pain kind of like going numb and kind of like muting itself. And I was like,
Okay.
okay, that's good.
Okay.
Because like you want to take as much pain as you possibly can. And then when you feel like you're just ready, the person is good, you're just like, okay, it's time for me to step back now, and we'll see how you're doing, and then I'll come back in a couple of minutes if you need more.
Okay. Because it kind
Yeah.
of it reminds me of when you're doing deep meditation and
Yeah, that's what it kind of is.
sometimes when you think what I think about sometimes when I'm deep meditating is I think about, okay, let's move from the head to the
Yeah.
face to the shoulders and kind of move all the way down my body.
Yeah.
And I physically think about it and let it
Yeah.
all. It's
That's what
similar.
kind of, yeah, it's very similar. It's you're just kind of helping the person, the body figure out how to heal itself again.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, because it's like it's the body's spiritual way of turning back on the things that they used to know on how to heal themselves, but you're just kind of that
So
reinforcement.
interesting. That's so
Yeah.
interesting. Now you said
Yeah.
you're still studying. What are you still studying? Which part of it are you?
I'm at a level two Reiki. I'm going into level three. I'm just want to make sure that I can process as much as possible. I'm studying how to take real control of my energy and not drain so fast because that's the
Sure.
biggest problem that I have. And being
Okay.
an empath too, I take on so many people's energy.
Mhm.
It's just it's draining. It's very draining.
Well, and that's probably a big challenge for you as a caregiver
Yeah.
because you're
Yeah.
taking on your mom's energy
Oh
and
yeah.
you're
Oh
carrying
yeah.
that load with you.
Yeah, sometimes I can't even tell where my emotions begin and hers kind of end because
Interesting.
it's just so empathic with her, and she's the same way. She can feel my energy. And it's like
Interesting.
I'm always trying to like be up and positive and stuff, but it's draining at times, and then you find yourself crying for no reason and you're
I
like,
know.
why?
Oh, wow. And
Yeah.
I think about when I was taking care of my mom before she passed away, and we were two different spectrums. And it's not the empathic side as much, but it was like
Yeah.
I was the people pleaser side, and
Yeah.
she was always the pessimist.
Okay.
And more of a realist pessimist, but
Yeah.
everything, the sky was falling with
Oh
any type
wow.
of news. And I felt like I had to lift her up all the time and get real with
Yeah.
her and take her to the optimistic side, which is
Yeah.
exhausting.
Yeah, it is. And my mom's a people pleaser, and so am I. And it's like the two
Oh,
of us together. And
yeah.
then the empathic stuff, it's like we're like too similar. And it's just so draining at times because you're just trying not to like absorb each other's energy.
Well, I commend you for at least knowing because I think the biggest part from a caregiver perspective is to understand who you are and your
Yeah.
awareness. I mean, you have
Yeah.
to
Oh,
from
yeah, for
there.
sure.
And
Yeah.
then I think it takes a long time to figure out the best possible care for yourself in this
Oh,
time.
yeah. It's a journey. It's a journey to figure out how to take care of yourself and take care of somebody else that's going through something so drastic and life-changing. And you're just kind of like, how do I take care of this person and also have enough energy
And show up
to
as your
take
best
care of,
self. Yeah.
yeah,
Oh
so
my
just to
God.
make sure that everybody's taken care of.
Yeah.
It's just a
Yeah.
lot. And it's a lot too when you're trying to process something and they're trying to process something and you're both going through like similar things, but you're like, okay, this person has to handle all of this, and then I have to process that they're going through this, and it's just kind of it's very hard.
Well, yesterday, we had met with another doctor yesterday and talked about how we're going to process all this information. And he had said, think about your loved one's current condition like a
Yeah.
box with everything in
Okay.
it.
Oh
Everything in it,
wow.
all of the diagnoses, the
Yeah.
outcomes, the pain, the
Yeah.
all of your emotions, everything.
Yeah.
And some people will close up the box and put it in another room and they don't want to take care of it and
Oh
they
wow.
avoid it. Some
Yeah.
people will have the box sitting in their at their kitchen table,
Yeah.
and when they're ready to open it, they'll take out bits and pieces of it.
Oh, that's a good idea. Because
So
I've tried to process so many things at once that I'm
I
like,
want
okay,
you to
this is
think about
overwhelming.
that. So, because you don't want to, and then there's other people that'll open the box and dump it all
Yeah.
out, and then they're
Yeah.
just all over it. So, thinking
Yeah. I'm
about,
the dumping it all out right now. And it's like I need to take it out at one at a time.
or take it out and put it in stacks, and then
Yeah.
put the other stacks back in the box and only work on one stack right now. And that's
That's
Danielle. Maybe that's
Yeah,
what you
that's a good
work on.
idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea because I'm always overwhelmed and I'm like, I know that I'm trying to process everything at once and it's not working. And I
You're
never
preaching
thought of
to
it like
me
a
today because
box.
I am that way right now today. And I'm
Yeah.
giving you advice and I feel like almost like a hypocrite because I can't do it today. I'm
Oh
I'm the
no, like
I'm the dump out of the box today and I
no,
have
you
to
have
do
good
it.
days and bad days. That's understandable when you have good days and bad days.
I think that
It's
everybody does, but I think
yeah.
that's just a good analogy. I love it. I love this talk. This has really been fun. So, um, I do some rapid fire questions at the end, and then I want you to do some closing thoughts for caregivers
Okay.
as well. Um, if you could change something from the past from a caregiving perspective, hindsight's always 2020 and we'll never be
Yeah.
able to fix it.
Yeah.
What would you change if you could go back and redo it again? Is there anything?
Yeah, I think that I would figure out how to take care of myself a little bit better instead of just now trying to figure that out. I would go back and do that more often. And so I knew how to just jump into this situation.
Yeah. What would you have done? Do you have any
Um,
ideas?
no, I have no idea. I think I would plan meals better.
Okay.
Maybe schedule time for myself a little
Yeah.
bit better. I'm starting to learn how to do that now, but it's
Good.
a learning process. But
Hmm.
yeah, if I could go back, I would do it a little bit better early on.
Yeah, yeah. But
Yeah.
what's nice about this journey is it never goes away. So
Yeah.
you can go ahead and try different things now and saying,
Yeah.
okay, this week I'm going to work on the meal thing and trying to work on
Yeah.
that. Next week I'm going to work
Exactly.
on, whatever it would be from
Yeah.
maybe you do a recharging time or something,
Yeah.
each
Because
time
I
you get,
love planning out meals and I love like making a
oh, there you
bunch of
go.
them. So yeah,
Yeah.
so that I can just like not worry about that.
Yeah, I don't know if you heard my episode one time. It's like when my kids were little, I had three boys. They always
Oh
would come
wow.
home from school and saying, "What's for supper, Mom? What's for supper,
Oh
Mom?"
yeah, those are boys.
Finally, you know what I did? I created a calendar and put it on the refrigerator every week. And I'm like, if you have any questions, it's on the refrigerator. And each week
Oh,
they'd
so
help me
smart.
with the menu. So
Oh, so
they would
smart.
get to pick a meal every week too. So they wouldn't say, well, we don't like that.
That is
And so,
so smart.
yeah.
Oh my
And
gosh, I
then
have to go back and listen to that episode.
yeah, and then what for me it was really nice is I would go ahead and write the grocery list off of that. So I
Yeah,
didn't have to
that's a
go to the grocery store and going, maybe I get this and maybe I get
yeah.
this. You just know what you're going to have every week. So
Yeah. That's a good
yeah.
idea
You could get
actually.
your mom involved in that too. So she
Yeah,
could
because she's
say,
always craving like certain meals, and I'm like, okay. But now I've actually wrote them in my notes in my phone and wrote the ingredients down, and I'm like,
nice.
okay. And she's
Yeah.
like, let's have this every like couple of weeks, and I'm like, okay. Now we've got things like kind of
Yeah.
set now.
Because she can't have probably if anything, certain things don't appeal to her anymore with
Yeah,
chemo and stuff like that
yeah.
too.
Because the taste buds change a little bit. Like
Right.
she tastes more salt now, so it's
Hmm.
just
She
she's
can't
like, is there
taste.
salt in this? Yeah.
Oh, that's too bad. What advice would you have for a brand new caregiver right now? What would be some advice you'd
Um,
give them?
okay, what would I give advice to a brand new caregiver? I think that I would give them just be patient with yourself. I know
Mm,
that like in the beginning I was like very overwhelmed and thought that I needed to do everything. And if like I didn't do everything, I felt like the world was falling apart. And I think that you just need to kind of like be okay with the fact that maybe not everything's going to get done that day
that's
and
such
just
good
be a little
advice.
bit yeah, just be a little bit kinder to yourself. Just process things a little bit more.
Yeah,
Don't get so overwhelmed and beat up about just day-to-day stuff. It doesn't
yeah,
really matter as long as you're spending time with that person.
yeah.
I mean, we're all going to beat up ourselves sometimes, but maybe just a little bit less.
Yeah, slow down and it's okay if, every like
Yeah,
it does get done. I
yeah,
too think I'm going to add right to your piece is like and allow yourself to feel because
yeah, yeah,
you have to go ahead and just be
yeah,
okay with it. If you need 10
yeah.
minutes to just go in the bathroom and cry,
Yeah, you
just
don't
go
need to
do
be
it.
strong all the time. And that was
Yeah.
like my biggest problem is
Yeah.
like I need to be strong all the time and I need to have everything done. And it's like sometimes I just can't do it all. I'm so exhausted by just like carrying all these emotions
Yeah.
that
It
you just need
is.
to give yourself time to like process things.
Yeah. Okay, my
Yeah.
last one's a kind of a fun one. It's kind of like a dream one.
Okay.
If you had one day off from caregiving and it was like your caregiving vacation,
Okay.
yeah. And what would you do? And you can't say sleep. We all want to sleep. But
Yeah,
if
we
you
all want to
had
sleep.
one day to yourself that you could get out and do whatever you wanted to do, what would it
Okay.
look like for you?
Oh my gosh, I'd probably go to like a public pool because right now it's fall and I would just swim for a little while, and maybe go bowling with my friends. I don't see them as
Oh,
often as I should,
yeah.
but like do a little bit of bowling and just laugh and maybe go out dancing that night or something, just so could have like so much energy and then just crash.
Ah, it's
Yeah.
so funny because our lives change so
Yeah.
much, and being able to go out and just do something fun. I've had some
Yeah.
people say they would go to a museum. I had some people say that they would, go sit on the beach, but yeah, whatever. It's like you
Yeah.
have to think about that. And then why I ask you that is because you want to get to some place where you can do that. Maybe not a whole
Yeah.
day, but you
Yeah.
get a little bit of time off for yourself. Do you ever do
Yeah,
that
maybe
now?
little snippets. I'm starting to now.
Good.
I've been so I've been so focused on taking care of her and just even just
Yeah.
doing my own processing of everything that's been happening that I
Yeah.
haven't really seen my friends in the last 2 years. But I'm starting
Yeah.
to reach out more, and I'm starting to go, do you want to go bowling? Do you want to do this? Do you want to
Yeah.
do
Do you
that?
know I joined a bowling league?
Oh, wow.
2 years ago, my mom was in hospice, and my
Oh,
best
wow.
friend, and she had said, I found this really fun mixed bowling league, and it's people from
Oh,
80
wow.
years old all the way to their 20s. And it's just a fun, and it's only an hour long once a
Oh,
week.
wow.
And we do it on Wednesday nights. And I'm like, I'm gone maybe an hour and 45 minutes. And it's a
Oh,
Wednesday
wow.
night. And it recharges me, makes me feel good. And if
Yeah.
I can't make it, we can get a sub, but
Yeah.
it has changed me for that hour. I
Yeah.
socialize, I've met new people. It's
I
just
remember the last thing that my brother said too. I think that's why I want to go bowling is because he said, Danielle, you need to take time for yourself. And you
good.
like, do you want to go bowling with me? That's what he said to me, like one of the last
Oh,
conversations that we had before like the night that he passed away, where we said goodnight to each other. But like he said, come bowling with me and my friend. And I'm just like, I don't know. But now it's like
oh, it gives
I
me
need
goosebumps. That's full circle. So,
yeah. And
yeah.
I'm starting to just crave that bowling because I'm like, that's something fun that we used to do as kids. Let's just let me go bowling with my friends and
Yeah.
just enjoy that because it's like he always pushed me to leave the house because he's like, you
Yeah.
can't just focus on caregiving. So I
Yeah.
hope in honor of him, I can go bowling and actually make him proud.
Well, yeah. So I'm saying you go to your doctor, get your test results done, figure out what's
Yeah.
going on with you, and then
Yeah.
once a month schedule bowling.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that I want to see my friends more often too. And they've been
Yeah.
so amazing and so supportive through everything, especially the last couple of years. Like just being able
Nice.
to be so understanding. I'm so grateful for them. They're so
Good.
understanding. They understand when I cancel. They understand they're not mad at me. They're
Good.
very supportive. We always talk to each other.
Good.
It's just, I'm so grateful that I have my friends that are
Yeah.
so
You need
on my
that.
side, yeah, and are waiting for me when I'm ready because it's just, I'm so grateful for them.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah. So to close today, what kind of, you're talking to the Caregiver Cup listeners out there.
yeah,
Is there any closing thoughts that you want to share with them? I mean, because you gave them so many different nuggets of information and
yeah,
a lot of relatable, they're probably nodding their heads. Is there anything you
yeah.
want to share with them?
I just want them to know that, like, this is a community and we're not alone, and it spans all over the world. And that when you do feel like you're alone, just remember that there's somebody else, either like maybe miles away or next door that's also caregiving for a family member, and you'll feel less alone that way. I know when I see your emails about your podcast in my inbox, I'm just like, oh yeah, I'm not alone, and
Mhm.
like when your new podcast episodes come in, I'm like, okay, I'm not alone. It's just a really good reminder because you feel so alone when you're caregiving.
You do.
You just feel so, so alone. And it's just a nice reminder to know that there are other caregivers out there. You're not alone. Everybody's going through different stages of their life caregiving. I think
Yeah.
caregiving is a worldwide kind of thing. And I think that we're all caregiving. Either we're parents or step parents or grandparents or we're caregiving for our parents or just our spouses. We're all caregiving in some way.
Yeah.
We're not
It-
alone.
yeah. And it's amazing how much, I mean, as much as it is a struggle,
Yeah.
it's also, you think about how much you've probably grown as
Oh yeah, it's so
personally.
rewarding. And I love doing this because I can help my mom so much. And and the love that we have for each other and
Yeah.
how much closer we've become and just being able to share our feelings about everything and even just talk about the hard stuff.
Yeah.
It's just become it's such an amazing kind of bittersweet kind of
Well,
job.
and look at you're learning the healing process too. I mean, you're
Yeah.
becoming a healer during the whole
Yeah.
process. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's just it made me step into my power and made me step into
there we go,
like
girl. That's what I
yeah.
wanted to hear from you. Yes.
Yeah, and it made me step into just a new version of myself. Like I feel more grown up. I feel like I can just do certain things. I'm like ready to become a parent now and it's like I just look at my life and I think I can do anything. If I can do this, I can do anything.
That's what
And
I
just
wanted to hear. Oh my God, that
yeah.
just gave me chills and because
And
yeah,
just being a healer just feels so empowering to me because I feel like I'm finally becoming me,
yeah.
you know?
And I think what you gave right now to the caregivers is, yeah, this is a hard challenge, but
Oh
you
yeah.
become, if you take it and you have that mindset, you're becoming the best version of yourself that you've ever been,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know?
And there's so much love there. At the end of the day, you just look at the person that you're taking care of and you just go, wow, like we did this together today. We made it through another day. And
That's
there's just so
awesome.
much love, unconditional love too. There's just so much unconditional love. And just, I'm just so grateful that like I'm able to take care of my mom and even just taking care of her empowers me even more.
Yeah. And I'm sure if you had that discussion with her to say, now, mom, I'm going to take little bits of
Yeah.
time to go ahead and make sure that my health stays full, she's
Oh
going to be
yeah.
totally supportive of that.
Oh yeah, she's the one that gets on me about my health because she's like, you can't take care because I'm always thinking about everybody else. And she's
Yeah.
like, I'm your mom. You have to take care of yourself.
That's
You can't take
awesome.
care of me. And it's a good reminder. And I'm so happy that she's still able to be that mom
Oh.
because she loves being a mom. So she can mom me until the day that she passes away. She
Well,
can be
this
my
has
mom.
been a great conversation and a wonderful episode for the podcast listeners to listen to. So, Danielle, I cannot wait for the feedback that we'll get from the caregivers
Yeah.
and anybody listening to this podcast. And we always share the feedback that we get via that text message the following weeks. And so
Oh, wow.
I'll make sure that you get those as well, or you listen to the following one. Well, it's me again. Before we wrap up this episode, I want to leave you with one piece of advice Danielle shared that truly resonated with me, and I'm actively practicing it myself right now. She said, just be patient with yourself. Process things a little more. Don't get so overwhelmed and beat yourself up after the day about the day-to-day stuff. And it doesn't really matter as long as you're spending time with the person. Slow down. It's okay. Those were so many good words of advice that I immediately reflected on those. And it's a powerful reminder for all of us. So let me ask you this. How are you slowing down? What are you doing to be patient with yourself during your caregiving journey? You know, I love to hear from you again, and I'd love for you to share your thoughts. So feel free to go ahead and look underneath the show notes and hit that text message. And it says message Kathy or text message Kathy, whatever it says, and give me your thoughts. Or connect with me on email or my Instagram, wherever you most connect with me. Again, how are you slowing down? And what are you doing to be patient with yourself during your caregiving journey? And I love to hear from you. And as I gather more, I'll share those maybe next week or the following week. And remember, we can all help each other. And now I have something exciting before I close the episode today. Remember last week I hinted at a little birthday surprise that I wanted to give to you? Well, here it is. It's a free live workshop for us to come together as a caregiving group or caregiving community. I want you to mark your calendars for Tuesday, December 10 at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time. If you can make it, we'll gather on Zoom for an empowering session about gifting yourself joy, peace, and personal time. I haven't really narrowed down the topic totally, but that's kind of where I'm thinking I'm going to go. With the holidays just around the corner, I know how hectic and emotional this season can be. This workshop will keep you or help you reclaim moments of calm, set boundaries, and find yourself with more joy amidst all of the chaos or the emotional triggers that come alongside of the holiday season. So spots are going to be limited. I think I can get Zoom up to 50 people, but I really want you to jump in if you're thinking about joining us. Click in the show notes and it's going to take you to a link where you can give me your email address and your name, and we'll reserve your special place for this. And I hope you can join me because it's just kind of something I pulled out of the blue. So to kind of end today, I always want to thank you for listening, for showing up, and for being part of this incredible caregiving group. Until next time, my friend, remember, prioritize your health. Find little moments that you can take care of yourself because you so deserve it. And you so deserve to be your best when you can go ahead and care for your loved one. Bye for now, and we'll talk to you again right after the Thanksgiving holiday. Bye for now.